For a change, I decided to read some news about Israel's destruction of Beirut and Sabra and Citadel in 1982, because that's actually the closest atrocity that I could find. And I found that calls on the state of Israel to restrain itself. That is in 1982. The international community has been doing the exact same thing for the past 75 years. It calls on the state of Israel not to go so far, but at the same time provides the state of Israel with diplomatic, economic, and military support to go that far. I do not believe any politician anyways, but I do not also believe any politician that says that they are not enjoying the murder and butchery of Palestinians in Gaza. Because they have been supplying this, France, the UK, Italy, and the United States of America have been supplying the state of Israel with ammunition and with bombs to be thrown on those civilians day in, day out, on an average of one bomb every 2 minutes. Just do remember that this is the international community that is supposed to protect civilians during the times of war. So what's their position? Their position is on the side of the oppressor. Neutrality buys time for the state of Israel to murder more Palestinians. Weapons supply the state of Israel with more ammunition to murder Palestinian civilians. So what you do in practice is matters to me a little bit more than what kind of a statement you give to TV. Second thing, I see the streets around main cities around the world. It's inspiring. It helps me feel better that I'm being murdered while people are watching me and people are standing against it. That's good. That's a little bit better than being indifferent or not caring or supporting the oppressor. But please remember that all those protests happen in the wrong address. My oppressor stays in, works from an embassy, and that embassy has an address. And that address is not the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of your government. That address is not your parliament. That address is not your public park. That address is the Israeli embassy in your city. This butchery will go on, sometimes as vicious and loud as we see it. Sometimes even we don't even notice it. We didn't notice the bombardments that happened in September. We didn't notice that. But there have been bombardments going on and on and on. It doesn't matter. As long as Israel has embassies around the world, Israel will continue to murder Palestinians. I see actions happening on the street. I'm inspired by it in a way, but I'm heartbroken by it at the same time because it's happening in the wrong address. We need to start planning and organizing for shutting down Israeli embassies and expelling Israeli ambassadors. In the exact same way, activists have worked on shutting down embassies of South Africa and expelling South African ambassadors. Actually, I don't know how to share this link, which is the statement I made out with a reference to how Americans managed to shut down the embassy of apartheid South Africa from November 1984 until December 1985. 13 months of day in, day out protests, sit-ins, and so on. And after 13 months and 9,000 arrests, the embassy of apartheid South Africa was history in America. We need that kind of long-term planning. Because once again, when the ceasefire happens, and it will happen sooner or later, we're going back to a reality that is worse than pre-October 7th. We'll go back to a situation of another concentration camp. I do not think any of us wants to go back. Going back to being subjects to apartheid while being subjects to apartheid, but that apartheid doesn't kill you every day. It kills you over a longer period of time. No, we don't want that. So yeah, I see what's happening internationally, and I'm fascinated to see countries around the world are not allowed to supply people who are being murdered with water. They're not allowed to open the Egyptian border with Gaza. That's what the international community is doing. Statements anybody can make statements. If you want to hear smarter statements, speak to your doorkeeper. Don't listen to politicians. What are politicians doing?